All right, and 4.4, the numbers that came in were number 5 and number 6 as far as students getting stuck. So let's handle those together. So 4.4, let's move it down. All right, we have a few things here to take care of. X plus y less than or equal to 1, x is greater than or equal to 0, and y greater than or equal to 0. So let's take a look at those on a little worksheet here. All right, shifted it over here. So let's take care of the easy ones because that's usually how it's done. So the easy ones were, is x greater than or equal to 0? As soon as you see this, you should think of yourself as a vertical line, and that line is x equals 0. So remember how in the homework or in the book they always change the inequality to an equality. X equals 0, which means you're going to have a vertical line coming straight down x equals 0. And it's going to be a solid line. The other easy one to take care of right away is y is greater than or equal to 0. Again, put in equal signs. And once you see that, you say, oh, that's a horizontal line. Horizontal line when y equals 0. In fact, it is the x-axis. That's what we have here. Okay, so then let's graph the first one here, and then we'll do the shading area as well. So for x greater than or equal to 0, you have this little line that comes down like this. Now what you have to do is you have to shade it as well. And that shade is for x greater than or equal to, think about, oh, what are all the x values that are greater than 0? Well, think of all the x values on a graph. All those are going to be to the right of this line right here. And so that's why we have the shade right here. Then graphing the other one. That's going to be another solid line coming across. And that's going to be shaded. Let's see, where are all the y values greater than 0? It's going to be above the line because you're going up from the line here. And if you do that, what happens is you get this little green area there, and that's exactly what I want to show you with those little highlighters here. So the blue area was going above this line. The yellow area goes to the right of the other line. But really, what we're talking about quadrant 1. Okay, why do we talk about quadrant 1? Is because whenever you talk about two different quantities, let's say we're farmers and we're raising one type of alfalfa, so you can't have negative, or let's say we were chicken farmers and pig farmers. Well, you can't have -3 pigs on a farm. You can't have negative values of items. So what tends to happen is we use these things here to quantify that we're not going to be really looking at the negative area. Okay, now let's deal with this here. X plus y less than or equal to 0. Oh, sorry, 1. Okay, this one, what the book teaches you guys to do, in fact, there's about 2 different ways to do this here. What the book teaches you to do is make that inequality into an equal sign. And there's kind of 2 different ways to approach it. You can do the intercept method if you like, or you can do the y is equal to mx plus b method. So whichever one you want to take in doing here. Let me do both. So again, you don't have to do both. I'm going to do both here. Intercept method just says this. What happens if x is 0? If this whole thing becomes 0, the y value has to be equal to 1. Then we go the other way. What happens if the y value is 0? So let's erase that. What happens if the y value is 0? The x absolutely has to be equal to 1. And once you do the intercept method, you have your 2 points to graph a line. So it'll be 0 sideways, 1 up. That's 1 point. And this one is going to be 1 to the right and 0 up. Now the only thing is solid or dashed. And that is based upon this little line right here. In fact, it's based upon that little guy right there. Because the equal to part is there, you know this is going to be a solid line. So we have ourselves a solid line coming through here. Now the question is which way. Well, let's do it this way here too. Let's do it the y equals mx plus b form. If you did it this way, what you would do here is you would solve for y. You would subtract x from both sides. You get y is equal to negative x plus 1. And you know that what you should do is you should begin with this guy along the y-axis. And if you do that, you keep on going until you get to 1 along the y-axis, and it's right here. Hey, look at that, straight on the same line. Remember, the slope here is negative 1 over 1, right? So if you go from this little dot here, and you go down 1, and then go 1 over, you get this dot here. So you got the same two dots that we used for our line. Again, it's going to produce the same line. But here's the other little trick here with these guys. You have to pick a test point, and the easiest one to pick is usually 0, 0. So if this turns out to be false, we're going to shade the other side of this red line. If it turns out to be true, we're going to shade towards the point from the line itself. I'm running out of space here, so I'm going to test here. I'm going to test 0, 0 right here. Now we go back to our original inequality here. So 0, well, x is 0 and y is 0. So in that case, 0 plus 0 is still 0. And is 0 less than or equal to 1? That is true. So we're going to shade towards the point away from the line. But we also know that we're only working at quadrant 1. So really what happens is we're looking for that little corner right there, that little bottom corner right there to be the answer for everything here. All right, now with all that information given, let's go back. Let's see if we can put this together on this little plot. All right, doesn't matter what order you graph them either. So let's go for it here. So first things first, I'm going to take, they're all solid lines. So I'm going to take the solid line. And again, for lines, I just need 2 points somehow in here. And the third point is going to be where you're going to shade it. And with this one, I think it's a lot easier to go with a mouse as opposed to maybe like working on an iPad here. So there's my x greater than or equal to 0. I'm sorry, this is my y greater than or equal to 0. My x greater than or equal to 0 is going to go like this. It's going to go right above here and shading to the right. So there's my quadrant 1 in there. And again, one more line. It's going to be my y, x plus y less than or equal to 1. So there's my 2 points here. Doesn't really matter where you go. And then I'm going to shade down. So again, the one that's shaded all 3 times is this little triangle right here. All right, with that, let's see if I am correct. Perfect, love it. Okay, that's 4.4 number 5. We did have another question on 4.4 number 6. So let's handle this one as well. Oh, that's very similar like the previous one here. So let's put that together real quickly here. So x greater than or equal to 0. Again, you should sort of have that understanding already here. That's going to be a vertical line, solid, like this, coming straight up. This one, you have to be very careful where you put it here because you want to. This one's going to graph everywhere here. The next one is y greater than or equal to 0. That's going to be a horizontal line going up or shaded away up from the line itself. So there's one. Almost like, you know what, I don't think that's going to be right on the line for some reason. It's just shifting up a little bit. Let me clear these. Let me try over again just real quickly here. Vertical line. I have to get sort of very, very close on these ones here just because. Make sure I'm straight on that line. The last dot I don't really care about because that's just to graph it here. This one here, I'm going to go make sure I'm straight on that line. That looks a lot better than shading up. Okay, this last one, x minus y greater than, or sorry, less than or equal to 4. That's the one I want to work with, really. Okay, changing it to a little place I can work with here. So x minus y less than or equal to 4. The book says change that to an equal sign because that's what we have as far as an equal sign is concerned. That's what we graph it. And again, just like number 5, intercept method or y equals mx plus b. This one is a lot easier to do intercept method. So I'm going to plug a 0 right into there. If that's the case, it becomes 0 minus y equals 4. The 0 really just drops out anyways. So if that's the case, y has to be a -4 for me. Plug in a 0 for the y value. Now it goes into here. So x minus 0 is equal to 4. This would be even better because that cancels off and we get ourselves just a 4. Okay, solid or dashed. Again, it is going to be a solid line because this little equal to part right here. So 0 sideways, 4 down is my first point, and then 4 to the right, and 0 up or down my second one. So 0 sideways, 4 down goes right there, 4 to the right, and I got myself a solid line that's connecting these points together. And the question is, which way is the shade? So I'm going to have to pick a test point. Again, easiest test point to pick is 0, 0. If this turns out to be true, I'm going to shade this way. If it turns out to be false, I'm going to start shading. All right, PowerPoint went crazy on me here. So let's go for it here. So let's plug in our final answer here. So solid line, it starts here. Oh, you know what's happening is, and because I placed my first dot here, it's thinking it wants to adjust this line. So I'm going to move that dot just a little bit up right there. In fact, I'm going to move this dot just a little bit further back so it doesn't interfere with my other point here. So now I can move this here. So 0, -4 is right there. 4 zeros right there. If I plug in 0 zeros into here, 0 minus 0, 0, 0, less than or equal to 4 is going to be true. So that dot is true. And again, it doesn't matter where you plug it in the line as long as it's to the upper right of that line. Okay, let's check it out. Let's take a look at it, see if I'm right. Yes, there it is. Okay, 2 for 2. Question 5 and 6 are both correct. Again, make it a precise graph because it's allowing you to graph all sorts of places on there. All right, hopefully that was helpful to you, and wish you well in the class.